special council meeting to address the bonding issue. So Mike, go ahead, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, what we have Jason Murray here from David Rowan Associates to talk to us about the general obligation bonds 2022A. And these would cover the road 2022 road, the sanitary sewer and the sanitary sewer clarifiers, and the fire truck. So we've got one combined bond issue that will split the proceeds out. And Jason's going to go through that with you, answer any questions, and then talk to you about what the market's doing and talk about private placement versus competitive bidding. So go ahead, Jason.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mayor and Council, for scheduling this special meeting to discuss this bonding. As Mike had talked about, we're taking a little bit different direction with you. Normally we go with a competitive sale, and there's no doubt that a competitive sale generally yields the best results for the city. But one of the things with competitive sales, it's about 30 to 45 days to get through that process. We generally will ask the council to begin the competitive sale environment. That allows us to schedule the rating. We generally work with S&P. Mike gets on the phone along with myself with S&P, and we go through a ratings call. And that process it generally takes 30 to 45 days to get through. And we all know what environment we're in with interest rates right now. We have an upward pressure on interest rates and a looming Fed meeting here at the beginning of November. And all indications there's going to be some upward pressure on interest rates. So with this private placement, we try and take that timing out of play. And in this case, we worked with R.W. Baird, who's been involved with some of your past bond, has been part of your past bond. I think they were the last one they were awarded the bond through R.W. Baird. So it's a firm you're familiar with. We basically went right to them and said, instead of getting the ratings, here's their audit, here's their last ratings. You can see the strength of the community. Go solicit bids for us in a quick, timely manner. And so Baird reaches out. They've got a network of lenders, investors that they work with, and they've come back with a proposal. And so that's what today, what I'm asking the council to consider, to lock in this rate and move this forward. So what you have in front of you, Mayor and Council, is just is my recommendations letter. Overall bond is about $3,069,000. It's broke up into it's different authorities. It's still going to be one bond. What we're basing, as Mike said, we're piecing off some for roads, we're piecing off some for sewer, and then the last piece of it is the fire truck. And so we're telling the regulators that we've got the authority to borrow this money under these three pieces. And the first piece being the road piece, the improvement under 429, that's about $816,000. The second piece is sewer and water, sewer at about $1,726,000. That authority is being issued under 115, which allows us to avoid pledging sewer revenues or assessments. We're using tax levies. That was my understanding. The direction the council wanted to move forward with was using tax levies. And then final piece is the $527,000, which is the new fire truck. And that is being issued under statute 412, which is basically your the ability to issue equipment certificates. So, as I talked about, Mayor and Council, this is a placement bond, or private placement. So timing is of the essence. We want to lock this in. We've got a locked-in proposal at 4.12%. Even as of when we priced this last week, looking at the markets on Friday, they jumped another 10 to 15 basis points. So locking in, you can kind of see locking in. We've got this upward pressure on interest rates. So today I'm here. My recommendation as council is you accept the 4.12% interest rate from Truist Financial Corp in Baird. Any questions, Mayor or Council?
I'm impressed you can actually get a rate that good right now.
It's ever changing, and over the last month, Mike and I have been talking about this, and the rate's been pushing upwards. You know, a couple weeks ago we were in the high threes. We come in just over 4 when we actually tried to get the formal bid and lock this thing. Once you've had your final assessment hearing on that last piece of it, we moved quickly to try and get that rate locked in.
So if we approved it today, I mean, that the lenders are all agreeable for that, et cetera?
Yep,
Okay.
everything's locked in, sealed
If
today.
we approved it? Okay.
If approved by council, funds would be in the bank here in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
So we avoid this 0.75% increase that's coming.
Yep,
And that's coming.
potential, yep,
Or potential, yes.
Yep.
But that's coming soon, from what I'm reading.
yep. We're trying to avoid that. If we would have went the competitive sale, the sale would have probably happened at the end of November, well within that after the Fed. And I've got a comparison in there for you too, Mayor and Council. The first sheet of my packet there, it's just kind of got a placement and a competitive sale. And what this does is tries to show you the difference between a placement and a competitive sale. On the left there, this is the conventional assumed AA+ side. You can see a total cost, net payments of about just over $5 million. And that's assuming we're in an environment, we're taking rates, and what I did last week is took the rates and added about 40 basis points, knowing we have some upward pressure. Ultimately, will it be a quarter, half? Who knows what the Fed will do. But you can see that if that happens, your net payments are going to be about $5 million. By locking in at this 412 today, your net payments are about $4,971,000. So it saves you about 50 grand, 45 grand.
You've got this projected out to 2043
Yep,
at the 4.12.
yep.
What happens in 5 years if the rates go back down?
We have built in this a call period, which allows the city to call through, to basically pay it off or call the bonds prior to 2033 with a 1% penalty. After 2033, they're callable at any time on payment dates only. So there is some call availability in there for you if rates would go down.
What would this rate typically have been a year ago? Could you
Oh, a year
guess?
ago was down in that 2.25. This spring, it was holding low, and then this summer is when we've seen the jump happen.
Right.
Since about June. May, rates have just been,
So if in 2 or 3 years we see them go back down again, then we just got to pay 1%, basically refinance it?
yep. And we look at, when we do a refunding, we look at all those costs. We build those, when we do it, we build in the cost to call, which is usually your prepayment penalty and any issuance costs, ourselves, attorney fees, all that. And we try and get you a true savings analysis based on that. So we try and build all those costs into it for you, Mayor and Council, if we look at an opportunity to refund this.
So on your last page, you've got about 8 or 10 people of the issuance circle, right?
Yep,
And are they all necessary contributors to this?
generally, yep.
Seems like it's an awful long list of,
You've got bond counsel, you've got David Drone as your financial advisor, you've got the placement agent, which we cannot go to the market on your behalf. We have to have that placement agent between us and the banks.
you've got a
And,
purchaser and a purchaser council. And
yep. Generally, in this case, the purchaser council and most of the time, the bond counsel that serves as city and purchaser, there's usually one. In this case, the bank did require their own purchasers council, which was an additional $3,000. But that's all built into this cost of the borrowing. So.
So Jason, can you explain how much interest rates would have to change to do a refunding?
Looking at that, Mike, I think they'd have to they'd have to at least be about I'm guessing about a point to a point and a quarter just to cover all the costs, just to, again, bring that down enough so it shows a true savings to the city. Might even have to be a little bit, but a little bit more, but about a point.
In 10 years, what you mentioned was the time to change.
You have a 10-year call with a prepayment penalty. You can call it if rates drop significantly tomorrow, we can take a look at it, and you've got that flexibility. Not uncommon in a rising rate environment to see that.
so we're,
Call.
we're doing this for approximately 20 years and we're paying just under $2 million in finance and fees.
Just under 2 million as far as when you say finance fees, and
Well,
that's everything
three-
built in. It's that 3 million covers all The 3,069,000 includes all fees built into this. But you're also bringing a sizable amount of cash back into this from various sources. So you're bringing over the total project down also.
Right,
That
okay,
same
so
period.
with the fees, we got 3,069,000, and at the end of 2043, our payments total 4971. So it's costing us just under $2 million to do it. Is that true?
If that's, I guess I'm not following you, Mary, as far as, I'm looking at 4 million on the master sheet, the 4.3 million of total payments, interest and everything.
I'm looking at this sheet right here.
Yeah, the interest is 1,250,000 rounded up. So had we done this 2 years ago and it would have been 2%, we'd save half of that. About.
So you're looking at this, okay. I was looking at the master.
Now, I'm just looking at page 1 of financial stuff. See that?
Yep. Right here.
Yeah, that's what it's, the
That's what
cost,
the interest is, yeah.
Yep.
interest cost.
So, yeah, the interest is 1.5 million, round number.
No,
Well, 1.2.
Yeah, or,
Yep.
yeah, 1.25, okay.
Yep, 1.25.
So then you've got about 600,000, 6.5, 650 in fees and other costs that are built.
We have, and not so much in I see what you're going with this. We have to add back in, when we do these analysis, we have to add back in your contribution into the place. So that's what's bringing it up to that 4.9 million. You can see that plus contributions. We're trying to create a apples to apples comparisons.
Okay.
So we're trying to we bring that contribution back into it, because you're buying down the bond at that point. So this is what it ends up being, is that difference between this is just to say this is what a cost of a conventional, what you're used to, versus this placement would be.
So we're actually paying back roughly the 4.3.
Yeah, it's about 4.3. Yeah, 1.2 million in interest and then 3 million in principal.
Mike, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mike, the 500,000, 504 from the county, do you think we'll get that in '23?
Yes.
Thank you.
What we'll need to do is at our next council meeting, authorize staff to draft a letter to Tim Bray to say, hey, our project's done, we've got the final cost. We're hoping we'll have a final number by then. That's been a challenge lately with Casper. And then we'll know how the cost share split breaks down. We can request the county to pay that. And the nice thing about this is the funds the county is using to pay their local share is coming from local option sales tax, and they already have those funds in place. So there's no levy impact to the county by paying us early. And the way the contract was written with the MOU with the county was they reimburse us no later than 2024.
They can pay,
Yep,
they can pay back early, and it's not
Yes.
a conflict for.
correct.
Thank you.
So can I ask one more question of you, Mike? So
Sure.
Going to page 1, I'm just trying to tally up the 655,000. City contribution, is that made up of COVID, the fire truck, and the connection charges? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so it isn't like we're taking cash out of the bank.
Correct. Yeah, I guess I had assumed that.
If you,
Payment for the.
Yeah.
yes, Jason, could you put the first page of your letter up there?
Yep, just right here, sorry.
Yeah, so if you can hit the,
Yep. So here's the breakdown, 450 from soil and water funds. Then you have 257 of COVID funds. 139, which is the estimate on the fire truck sale of the fire truck or trade. And then 259 from connection charges. I think, Mike, you've got about 260 sitting in the account.
Yes,
as
we do.
Right now, so we're trying to use as much of that connection charges as we can. And then the 504 from the county.
I'm comfortable with what I'm looking at.
One other question is, on that same page, the sanitary sewer extension, the type number is 2593,513, and you said that was 1,726,000?
Total borrowing. So if you slide back, there's some of these schedules.
Yeah.
There's a master up in the, maybe this is better. I always forget you have this, so I apologize. Not used to using one of these. This is nice. So the first sheet is this master. You'll see it up here in the corner. This is the one big bond. This is the bond, everything together. So you'll see the 3,069,000 down here in the corner, 1.24 million, and then it breaks down your special assessments and then your tax levies, okay? Slide to this next one's the sewer the improvement portion. You can see the 816 of this road improvement portion. Your principal's 816, interest is 304, and then you can see the breakdown in costs, how we've allocated some of the issuance costs and that stuff. We have no city contribution at this point coming into play for the road piece of it. The sewer piece of it, here it breaks down. We've got really about 3.1 million between the sewer project and the clarifier. You see the issuance costs. So it's just under 3.2 million of total costs associated with sewer. So then all of a sudden here we add in, we're applying all these, the contributions, the connection charges, the soil and water, the COVID funds, along with the county contribution. That brings that total borrowing to about 1.7, just over 1.7 million. So that's the breakdown on the sewer piece. Again, looking down 1.7, you got about 864,000 in interest. The fire truck, same thing, 658. We've got less the 139, total borrowing is 527. And again, we're pledging tax levies and that towards.
Could you go back to the previous sheet on there?
Sure, Mike,
I
sorry.
think where the confusion is coming in is, I think, Dave, you're probably just looking at the 66 project. The bond issue for sewer takes into account both the 66 sewer extension and the clarifiers. And that combined bond is $1,726,000.
It's the sewer piece associated, the sewer portion of this associated with both clarifiers and the construction project.
Nicely laid out, thank you.
Yep.
Questions? I'll make a motion, we accept the David Drown proposal dated October 19th with the private placement as recommended for $3,069,000.
I second that.
Okay, any other discussion on it?
Just one question for the clerk. Shar, do you need that recommendation in a resolution format? Because we've got a resolution for that too.
Yeah, they don't have it in front of them.
Okay, yeah, we just got that like 10 minutes for the
Yeah.
meeting.
There, if you don't mind, Mayor and Council, as far as that recommendation is just as part of the motion is also to accept a recommendation, but also to award the sale. If you could just add the award sale to it.
Okay,
think
I
that
will amend my
That should cover
motion.
enough.
To award the sale.
I'll amend the second.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Council.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Char, thanks for all your help.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.